Hey guys, so I was lucky enough the other day to pick up a pair of Puma Fastroid shoes. So here we go. Check out these bad boys. Full nitro foam, nitro elite foam. The plate through it doesn't seem to be carbon. It just seems to be fiberglass, although it has got a plastic encasing around it. So that there keeps it nice and stiff through the midfoot. Not much flex as you can see, and zero flex coming through the front of that shoe as well. The upper's really nice actually. I don't tend to like uppers with stretchy tongues. So on the Alpha Flies, for example, it's quite stretchy through the top, and I'm not a massive fan of that. I prefer something that kind of does lock my foot down a lot better. The rest of the upper does that really well. So you've got the power tape that they put on there for an extra bit of support. It's non-flexible, so it's not stretchy, this type of mesh throughout the inside. And then the heel cup just fits absolutely fine. There's a little bit of padding just around the inside, just to stop that heel slippage around the Achilles. And then it's got on the inside, obviously this is all stretch knit through the inside, and that then is knitted to the top of the shoe and the rest of the inside as well. So it's not waving around and the tongue's not loose, doesn't come out of place or anything like that. The colorway looks amazing. Like, that's one thing that really stood out. It looks awesome. The ride wise, so I have been out running in these, and it's a different experience. So having this much foam and having a very wider platform, it doesn't make the shoe quite as fast as a few of the other shoes about. So even the Prime X. So we've got a Prime X here. All right, and what you can see on the base is a big difference in terms of heel widths to start with. The Prime X isn't known for having a wide heel, obviously, and for being a little bit more unstable through the outside, but once you get running in it, it does feel very stable. The forefoot then, so forefoot, the Puma is a little bit wider. So we've got about an extra centimeter there in terms of width through the forefoot, and I really like the width of the Prime X, and I feel like Puma didn't need to necessarily go that wide with the shoe, but it does make it a little bit more stable. When you are running in it, it does feel wide, and that's one thing that's really noticeable. It does feel wide, and it is fairly stable. So even through the heel, although the heel is very soft again, having that extra width does make that heel very stable. It feels very neutral based. So with the Prime X, we had through there, we've got that bevel through the outside of the shoe that almost provides an extra bit of stability for people that do slightly over pronate. Whereas this one here is completely flat through the back. And landing midfoot as I do on these, that works really well as a platform to then come off. The shoe is ultra springy and the foam is incredible in it. That said, it does feel quite similar to Light Strike Pro on this. Same kind of amount of rebound, just that extra foam that basically goes through there. It's a little bit more fatiguing than I'd say the Prime X or the Alpha Fly is, just for the fact of the softness and the cushioning, although it does have a lot of rebound in it. One thing that is noticeable though is you'll see through the inside, and that piece there is just fabric underneath. So there's no support, no guidance whatsoever through that middle piece, which is noticeable a little bit just with your foot as you do run. You do feel not quite as stable through that area as you would some of the other shoes and what you'd expect to see. Myself being slightly bigger runner, I guess, so I'm 5'11", weighing in about 100 kilos. This is a really good everyday trainer. Look, I'm never gonna say that it's gonna be a race shoe, just for the fact of the extra width through there. And look, it's not a heavy shoe whatsoever. Like, it is super light. But because of the extra width through there, it does make it almost more of a just long marathon plotter, heavy type of guy who wants a bit of extra cushioning. I imagine that the foam in this is going to be ultra durable, just for the fact that you have got that extra rebound, and the rest of the Pumas with the Nitro Elite also tend to be very durable through the sole. The grip on the bottom of the Puma grip, you can't go wrong with it. It's one of the best in the business. Durable, like there's a really thin layer of it, so obviously they've got to try and keep the weight down as much as they possibly can with it, and I'm guessing that's why you might have some perforations just in the middle of it as well. But yeah, that feels really good when you are running. Stack height, so obviously the stack height is one of the main things through this, and it is a lot more extreme than the Prime X, even though the Prime X there does have, I think it's up to a 50 mil stack height. The heel doesn't feel quite as high, but the forefoot has so much extra foam underneath it that you really can feel that it is thicker. So it's just the forefoot mainly that you notice these big differences in. We've got an Alpha Fly here as well, so you can see the size difference with the Alpha Fly and the stack heights on there. I don't feel as smooth or as fast as the Alpha Fly. I like the heel. The heel on the Puma is really, really good, but I do love the Air Zoom pods that Nike put on there. It just feels really smooth to transition through that forefoot. And it's not something that you kind of get in any other shoes. Even with the Prime X and the Adidas Pros, it doesn't work quite as well, I find, as the Alpha Flies. So I think Nike have nailed it on that. I think the rear foot still needs a little bit of work in comparison. I feel like this is a little bit firmer in comparison to the Zoom X foam, which I guess is more comparable to them, as we said before, the Light Strike foam. So look, overall, awesome shoe. Is it worth the extra price tag? I think I paid $475 Australian dollars for these. I'd say so, and the reason being is because it's pushing boundaries a little bit. It's almost a concept shoe. With this amount of Nitro Elite foam, you wouldn't expect anything else for it to be more expensive than the other Puma Fast R's that are around. It's just much more of that shoe, and yeah, having that extra foam that's bouncy through the heel makes a huge difference in comparison to the Fast R's. And I guess at some point they're going to change that EVA to possibly a slightly firmer Nitro Elite foam. But I guess we'll wait and see. I really do like the upper on this as well. It does lock in through your foot really well, despite having the knit through the top. So yeah, look, if you're a bigger guy wanting a bit of extra cushioning, something that's a bit fun, and you're not going too fast in it, I say that this is the pick of the choice right now. I love my Prime X's. And like this is my go-to runner pretty much most times I'll go out. It just does everything for me. It picks up pace a lot better than these ones do, and you've got that bit of extra protection and extra heel height in comparison to the Alpha Fly, and that really helps offload your Achilles and other areas. I didn't have any issues with Achilles or calves or anything like that in these, which was really noticeable. Although obviously the forefoot seems a little bit firmer than the rear foot, it still does a good job of not compressing too much, so you haven't got that rocking back feeling. Yeah, so there's your rundown on the shoe. If you get a chance to try a pair on, then go for it, absolutely. If you're looking something that is going to be a racer that's just going to give you an extra benefit, I wouldn't say that you're going to get that from this. Just stick with your Alpha Flies. That's going to be your main go-to, I think, race shoe. If you're a bigger guy who just wants extra cushioning, extra protection, something that's a bit more fun, then I think that this is what to go for right now. It's going to be durable. Like it's a good shoe.